Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Race to 100. I am Rick Thorsell.
And I'm Neil Batang.
And we are on episode number 78. So, back to basics, I feel like. We have another instance of a police encounter with a civilian and an autistic man. I think this has been making the national headlines for a while. And it just feels like these instances are getting more and more outrageous every time they happen. Because first you have an instance where a black man is shot selling loose CDs. Then you have a black man shot in his car, even though he has a gun. And now you have a black man lying on the ground who's saying, "Don't shoot, don't shoot. I'm unarmed."
And so is my autistic patient.
And my patient is autistic. Please, there's no need for rifles. And they had assault rifles too. And then he shot. And the response from the officer was, when asked, "Well, why did you shoot him?" was, "I don't know."
That was his initial response.
That was his response.
He changed his rationale for shooting this man by saying he was aiming for the autistic guy, who the guy on the ground said, "He's autistic. I am his caregiver and taking care of him. He's totally fine." So not only do the police of Miami fail to value the lives of black men, but they don't value the lives of those with mental health issues. And it's just a problem for me because, yeah, I don't even really know what to say this episode. I'm just sick of this stuff happening. It's beyond me. It's very stupid.
It's perplexing because you look at the situation where they had received a 911 call that somebody had a gun and was threatening to kill themselves. Is that how an officer would respond to somebody threatening to kill themselves? They'd shoot him himself? Man. It's so odd.
Fired 3 rounds at the guy, and he's unfortunately in the hospital having to pay his own medical bill. He has to pay his way for someone else's mistake. And Black Lives Matter protesters were doing what they do best, protesting in Florida, seeking to have this police officer fired immediately. And his name has not been mentioned. I mean, his boys have protected him and backed him up despite the wrongdoing that's occurred. I mean, typical, right? Where's Sheriff David Clark when you need him then? I wonder what he's saying about this somewhere at the Republican National Convention.
And this is a question that is never asked those opponents of Black Lives Matter. What do you think of an instance like this? What do you think that what happened is right? I mean, they always cheer when the cops are exonerated, but do you believe that it was right in the first place, that that individual should be shot? They can't seem to answer that question. They seem to ignore it. It's like, oh, well, Black Lives Matter is all about hate, etc., etc. Well, what about the fundamental question is, should that person have been shot in the first place?
No one deserves to get shot. It's tough, man. It's very tough because it's hard for people to accept like that they're wrong. Like when you do something wrong or think incorrectly for such a long time, and you keep telling someone that they're wrong, like psychologically speaking, and I figured this out. I remember my second or third year in college. Like, people have an issue with you being with being told that they're wrong. Like, even if someone's in the wrong, if you come at them in an aggressive manner and you're very in your face and brash, they'll still defend themselves because for us as human beings, the most sacred thing to ourselves are the ego. We guard our ego so much. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Like, we're very egotistical people. So by you telling me I'm wrong, you're coming at my ego, how I was brought up, my values, my thought process, etc. Yeah. But if you can calmly and articulately tell them, hey, this is why Black Lives Matter. Like, I've been able to tell people, conservative folks, why Black Lives Matter is such a strong movement. And when you tell it to them, then they look at you and say, oh, okay, well, I guess that makes sense. And, I always say, put yourself in that person's shoes, what if that was your kid, Again, I said, these are teenagers who are doing the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Your teenager has smoked weed, your teenager stole Skittles, your teenager has played with, toy guns in parks with his friends. Like, he's a kid, he does what kids do. And we're pretty much setting up this idea where it's like, it's a crime to be black in this country, and it used to be a crime in this country to be black.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
don't forget too that white people have egos as well.
No, absolutely.
And they get very defensive when, and I think it's just a natural tendency when we're critiqued. We don't like being critiqued. I didn't like before I discovered Black liberation theology and had my moment of revelation. Yeah. I was very offended
because when black people say white people this, white people that, a white person thinks you're talking directly to me, like you're saying like there's something wrong with me.
That's what I used to think.
Yeah, like why, like what have I done to you? Like okay, I'm white.
I totally
I've been on the benefiting end of plenty of privilege. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, when black people say white people, they're not speaking to you specifically. They're speaking to those that fail to empathize. That's really all it is, and it's crazy because a lot of people lack that empathy. A lot of people lack that empathy, and it's unfortunate.
Well, and there is another point too, is that white people in general, and only because I experienced this personally, we have to come to a point of realization that, you know what, yeah, we do contribute, even if it's inadvertently, we do contribute to the cycle of racism, unless, as James Cone points out, unless we are actively promoting and using our white privilege to advocate for the black experience, we are participating in a cycle of racism because the norm is racist. Yeah. The norm, the way that things operate, because of our country's history, is inherently racist.
Also, I mean, racism in this country has been is older than the freedom of our country. I mean, it's completely normal. This country was built off power structure, racism, and the systemic oppression of those with color. You don't
have to be a member of the KKK to be racist.
Yeah, and that's what people fail to, like you said, there are two types of racism, overt and covert. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and this is the thing that I wish that I could engage more white people on, is that over and over again, it's no one likes to name one person who would outside of white supremacist groups who would say that they're racist or have ever done anything racist. No white person would ever say that.
Yeah.
No person likes to think of themselves as racist.
Yeah, it's
I don't like to think of myself as racist.
Yeah.
And that just because it feels wrong or uncomfortable doesn't make it true. I mean, we blind ourselves as white people to the fact that we contribute to a racist system, and unless we're actively working to encourage some sort of reconciliation and healing, then we're still continuing to engage in that racist cycle.
Oh, what do they say in Psych 101? The first step in conquering a problem is acknowledging the problem. And as long as people can learn to do that, and at least put themselves in the mindset to do that, we can start achieving that goal of racial equality we've been talking about and harping on. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more episodes to Race to 100. None of this would be possible without the contribution of our viewers and subscribers. We appreciate all of your help and support. Thank you for tuning in once again. Rix, would you like to add anything else?
We will catch you next time on the Race to 100. Peace.